How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting. Welcome back to Putrika First Cut. Gone longer than I expected, so I'm not going to try and predict anymore. We'll see how this goes. But basically what's happened is through basically loopholes in contracts, which is something I expect more of devils, not angels. The angels have kind of allowed for a accord to be broken between Remi and who is, like, I guess a construct of the devil, and them, like this kind of agreement to like not mess with each other, basically allowing them to declare a holy war against him, so they're gonna try and destroy him. Which it's again, like the way they're getting around the contract was they had a guy who was allied with them go to his house, get himself to get served a cup of tea, poison himself, and then like make a claim before he dies that it was Remi did it, so that they could blame him for killing some human, so that he could be accorded, even though he didn't kill him. Like, I don't understand how that works. It seems more like they just needed an excuse, not the actual reason. There's no real justice in the setup. Anyway, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm curious to see how it plays out. So I think we're gonna get a look into his past a bit, and then we'll see how that plays out from there. Alright, so let's get started. I was not blessed upon my birth. I was neither man, demon, nor angel. I was mere effigy, did not possess man's arrogance, the demon's madness, or the mercy of an angel. I was granted no purpose at all. And yet the demon who created me accepted me for who I was. I was able to come to terms with my existence because he was there for me. His kindness, unbefitting a demon of his caliber, saved me. But he was soon struck down by the angels. The sins he committed in the past were too great. That was how I came to experience loneliness for the first time. Robbed of my reason to live, I could only wander aimlessly as I questioned my own existence. A lack of companionship wore down upon me and threatened to drag me into hell. Aww. Without the demon by my side, I bore the full brunt of the solitude all on my own. He had granted me this warmth of family. What I yearned for most was a neighbor. Someone to share in my solitude and all the sorrows in my heart besides. I resolved myself. Like those demons who created me, I would create my own family. Oh, okay. So he intended to do this a while ago. It was much easier to create an effigy than I had imagined. However, they had no will of their own and would only obey my orders. The means by which I was created was endlessly complicated and mystical. I had to resort to different methods. The creation of an effigy through a gemstone. Gems made for a remarkable conduit for magecraft. If used as a core, I thought it might be sufficient yet to create new life. But things did not go as planned. I tried with a number of different gems, but the results were always dulls with no independent thought. I was missing something, and it was through Ilsa that I thought I had found my answer. Ilsa was possessed by a curse, one with an azure glint. On her person was a gemstone that led all those who held it to their untimely doom. Alright, so the gem... So this is crazy stuff we're talking about. So she has a gem that's got a curse on it. Okay, and he's also learned how to make gems from corpses. I can kind of understand that because, you know, gemstones are ultimately like pressurized carbon. So it's not entirely unfeasible to take the carbon of a living being, compress it down into a gemstone. Feels a little like over the top. And again, it's like one of my biggest gripes is that I feel like I don't understand like the rules of this world. I don't even have explanations for it all. It's like, you want to tell me that gemstones can channel magic and could house like artificial souls? Sure, that's fine. I can go with that. But this is the first time we've mentioned magecraft. It's been implied that magic could be real, but also implied that it might not be real. So to suddenly be like, oh yeah, so gemstones are important in magecraft. It's like, okay, is magecraft what you do exclusively? Do humans have access to it? So in the human world, is magic real or not? Or is it exclusive to only demons and angels? Because if magic's real, then witches are real. But the whole storyline and the whole sorrow and the sadness of what happened with Ilsa and Lucy is that they were put to death on the lie that witches were real, that's used as a means to an end. So which is it, game? Like, you can't just have both. If witches are real, then burning witches might be cruel, but at least they're onto something. But if you're instead going to try and tote the line that, oh, like the ultimate sadness was that the people who organized these witch burnings know in their hearts that witches aren't real, then you can't say that magecraft is a thing, at least casually. You need to explain to me, I think, why it only seems to be one case and not the other. Excuse me. It feels like we're living in two different worlds and realities here.
呪われた少女の死体からならば強力な宝石を生み出せるのではないか。
Okay.
そしてその宝石を核にすれば宝石人形を完成させられるかもしれない。
Tragedy, gemstones, and an effigy at the end of it all. It was the perfect equation. Despair only enhances the glow that resulting gem would possess, and I consequently made the effigy more human. I watched on as Ilsa was about to be slaughtered by her fellow man. I simply had to wait and collect her corpse. Once the commotion died, everything lined up perfectly. But I couldn't. The girl lost her dearest companion and made an enemy of the entire world. She was the spitting image of myself back when I despaired and yearned for someone by my side. Oh, interesting. So originally he was just going to wait for her to die, but he saved her. Got a showing a level of compassion. Could I have let the girl die under such circumstances? If the loneliness she bore was anything like my own, I could not stand by and affirm her death. I knew I should have let her be. Saving her would only bring me trouble. All I had to do was wait, and I would obtain what I wanted what I was there for. But my body moved before I could think. I rushed out to save her, not knowing how many actions would lead me further into unending solitude. I saved Ilsa from the witch hunt, hoping that would bring her salvation. Therefore, I couldn't understand why she directed her anger at me. Her scream tore through me like a knife. She lashed out at me with a burning hatred in her eyes. Her nails dug deep into my arm. The fear and confusion inside her exploded all at once. My words were powerless to reach her. When I tried to approach her, she pushed me away and unleashed all the malice that had been building up inside her. She no longer discerned between friend and foe. In her eyes, the world must have seemed incredibly chaotic. Everything that breathed and walked sought to hurt her. Therefore, she rejected everything. Dang. So sad. And that gem, like some reason, like that cursed gem, like where did that come from? Her cries rang throughout the room as it faded into the dark. I was rendered speechless. Then she pleaded. Her terrible request left a deep wound in me. Which is never true, but it's also hard to not see why she would feel like that. I was too naive. Her despair far surpassed what I could comprehend. But I couldn't give up. She wasn't alone. Not anymore. I could be there for her. But was this really for her sake? Of the two of us present, who was it that felt joy to have someone by their side? I couldn't do anything until Ilsa wore herself out and fell asleep. Then I carried her deep into the woods where I had a hidden house. No one would find us there. I could protect her from all who sought to harm her. Ilsa woke up and saw my arm regenerate. One Once she learned of my origin, her rage for me revived in full force.
悪魔の存在がこの惨劇を生み出したんだ。そうじゃなきゃこんなことが起きるはずが。
I knew that wasn't how she truly felt. She simply needed something to blame. She could not bear the pain otherwise.
ねえ、悪魔だったら殺してよ。今すぐに私を殺して。このままだと頭がおかしくなる。俺はあなたを救いたくて。遅いの、もう。
The more we talked, the more we hurt each other.
あなたには私を救えない。できることといえば殺すことだけ。
Her mind had broken beyond all hope of repair. She simmered with hatred on the day she saw me and muttered and sobbed to herself on the night she didn't.
どうすればよかったんだ。
I could only question my own actions every time I heard her cry. Those days continued with no end in sight.
俺は彼女のために何ができる？どうしたら彼女を？
I clicked early. I could not muster the strength to end her life. Once she was gone, I would be all alone again.
死なないで。一人にしないで。
That was my only wish.
お願い。生きて。
The truth was that I kept her alive for my own selfish needs. After a long time, Ilsa finally started to show signs that she was healing. She no longer screamed upon seeing me, instead she was silent. I knew that whatever I said would only hurt her, so I limited our contact to bare minimum. All I could do was take care of her needs.
食事はここに置いていく。
I needed to be patient with her.
弱みの用意ができている。着替えもここに。
Though we were not yet on speaking terms, she started to do as I told her. She no longer asked me to take her life. I didn't know what was on her mind, but it seemed she was willing to live. That alone filled me with an indescribable relief. It took even longer time to further change to happen. It started when we passed by each other in the hallway. Once she had always looked away, she would now make the tiniest gesture to acknowledge my presence. We gradually began to make conversation. At first it was just awkward greetings, but that was enough to dispel the silence between us. A few words she did speak showed that she was regaining her composure. Time healed even the most painful of wounds. I couldn't save her through my words or actions, but that my efforts were helping her along the road to recovery filled me with a sense of pride. I don't know, dude. It doesn't feel like a lot of progress.
あなたは人形なんだ。
I could never forget the first time Ilsa spoke to me of her own accord.
悪魔と呼ばれながら何のために生きているの？
Of course, I wasn't conceited enough to think she'd completely healed.
寂しくて死にたくならない。
Her words were a sharp knife that cut deep.
そんなことはない。
Perhaps a part of me was still lonely even then. I felt like her eyes saw right through me.
あなたがいるから寂しくない。
That's dangerous. It's dangerous to be that, attached to a single person.
お人形さんは嘘つきだね。
I couldn't prove her wrong. Huh. As more time passed, it became even clearer that Ilsa was changing. She didn't hold up in her room, would even join me at the dinner table. I would catch her staring out the window into the distance as if entranced in a daydream as the sunlight gently enveloped her.
あなたは料理が上手なんだ。おさようも。
This is odd. There was kindness in her voice that wasn't there before.
私のこと嫌いにならないの？ひどいことたくさん言ったのに。俺は
My heart fluttered at the sight of her smiling serenely.
あなたに生きて欲しかった。
I was glad that I never gave up on her. She had found a reason to keep going, and nothing could have made me happier. Man, this is gonna get real tragic, isn't it? Because we know where this goes, and it does sound like she's doing better, but apparently it's not enough, or it's kind of like a placeholder.
生きていれば新しい未来がある。あなたには前を向いて生きてほしい。眩しいな。
She wasn't alone anymore, and neither was I.
お人形さん、
どうした？
お人形さんはいつまで隣にいてくれるの？
I mean, as long as it takes, I'm guessing.
あなたが安らかに眠れるその日まで。
じゃあ、死ぬまで一緒にいてくれるんだ。
そのつもりだ。
I answered right away.
本当に、眩しいよ。
She smiled as she averted her gaze. I didn't understand the meaning behind her gesture.
ねえ、お人形さん。
どうした？
私何かお礼がしたいの。お人形さんが一番欲しいものは何？
Interesting.
俺は。
I hesitated to voice what I truly wanted.
家族が欲しい。寂しいのは嫌いなんだ。
そう。
It seems she hadn't anticipated my answer. She didn't say anything else. She just quietly nodded.
おやすみなさい。お人形さん。
あ、おやすみ。
Those were her last words. That's kind of what I thought it was going to be. Next day, she hanged herself in her room. So sad. All she left was a note bearing a single sentence.
私の死体でお人形さんの家族を作ってください。
Dang. I cursed my own foolishness.
そうか。
After all this time, I finally realized the truth.
俺には誰も救えないんだ。
The mere memory of that day was enough to drive me mad. Myriad crosses of light pierced through me. Ansh held my head in her grip as she mercilessly gouged into my past trauma.
辛かったね、レミ。あなたの救いの手はイルサには少しも届いていなかった。それどころか死ぬ理由を与えてしまった。イルサを殺してしまったのはお人形さんですね。
違う。俺は
Was it really not?
それでイルサの死体を使って宝石人形を作り出したわけですか。己の孤独を埋めようとして。
I mean, I can't blame him, but also, like, she's not wrong. He was motivated by selfishness more than anything. Ilsa chose death in her last moments. Despite all my efforts, she chose to embrace solitude and die. The day I found her corpse cruelly swinging from the rope was the day I tasted true despair.
人形さんは私のために助けてくれたの。
I heard Lazriel's voice.
それとも私の新鮮な死体が欲しかったから助けてくれただけ。
I turned around to find Ilsa staring back at me.
Lazriel.
Did Ilsa see through me all along? Did she know that I initially wanted her remains, or was it my yearning for companionship that she perceived?
あの時の優しさは嘘だったの。
No, it definitely wasn't. The image of her corpse wouldn't leave my mind. It seared itself into my brain to torment me for all eternity.
俺は
I don't know, dude. I think you definitely, like, we know for a fact that, like, you didn't have to, like, do that. Like, you could have waited for her to just die instead of saving her. You saved her for a different reason. What could I have done for her?
はずじゃなくて。
I was never able to stop asking myself that one question. And never once did I find the answer.
ただイルサのためにしてあげたかった。本当にそれだけだったんだ。
What was the reason Ilsa had to perish? Because I pushed her toward that end. I could no longer recall how she looked when she was at peace. In my mind, she was either writhing in pain or worse, cold and lifeless.
生きていてごめんなさい。
I was a demon's effigy, yet I dared to yearn for happiness.
生まれてきてごめんなさい。
Well, that's not like it was your fault. You didn't choose that. It happened. I admired humans and came to want a family of my own. Even though my hands were unfit to soothe anyone, perhaps I existed only to drag others down to the depths of misfortune with me.
生きたいと願ってごめんなさい。
I
幸せになりたかった。
That was all I wanted.
じゃあお人形さん
Ilsa cackled.
罪を認めて死んでくれる？
ああ、
If that was what she wished for, may her hatred consume me and return me to ashes. Ilsa's phantom vanished the moment Lazriel spoke up.
レミ君の優しさはちゃんとイルサに伝わっていた。あの子はただそれをうまく伝えられなかっただけ。
Yeah, I definitely think we're getting only one side of all of this. The two souls had resided in her body intertwined. Together they brought forth a miracle that could never be.
え、
The shade of Ilsa that wished for my death was gone, having never been there at all. I should have known that was nothing but an illusion conjured by Ansh.
イルサ。
I also knew that Ilsa's soul did not reside in Lazriel. The dead do not return. They only reincarnate. Her memories were all that she should have remained. And yet... She always has these bubbles, like, of water around her.
聞いて、お人形さん。
I couldn't tell if I was dreaming.
ごめんなさい。ちゃんと伝えればよかったのに。私の弱さがお人形さんを苦しめてしまった。
My instincts were screaming at me, telling me that this was the real Ilsa in front of me.
愛していたの。
Here she was, telling me all the things I never got to hear from her in life. It would be the very first time she ever opened up to me.
私はね、リュシー様のことを本当に愛していました。私を残して死んでしまったことさえあなた様らしいと思ってしまうくらいに恋焦がれていたのです。それは呪いのような愛情でした。
I could never have been what Lucy was to her. I had to learn that the hard way.
だけどそこに憎しみや恨みの気持ちはなかったんだよ。私が首を吊らなければいけなかったのはそれが理由じゃないの。
俺を恨んでいないの。だってあなたは俺を残して死んでしまって、だからあの時救い出したことをいつまでも恨み続けているんだって。
違うよ、お人形さん。伝えるのが下手でごめんなさい。私はお人形さんに心から感謝しています。
Oh, gosh.
私を助けてくれて。
How do we know this isn't fake either? It's hard to know what's real and what's not here. I hope this is real, but... I felt something drip down my cheeks. My tears flowed without pause.
あなたのおかげで安らかに天に昇ることができました。リュシー様が愛した私のままに。それはお人形さんのおかげ。
でも俺は
生きることが救済と等しいわけじゃないの。自分の終わりを選んだことを許してください。それが私の救いには必要だったから。憎しみなんてものは必要なかったのです。リュシー様を愛しながら失った悲しみと寄り添いながら死んでいく。それこそが私の救いだったのです。この悲しみを失ってしまえば、私は私ではなくなってしまうから。
There it is. That was what she needed.
だから胸を張ってほしい。あなたは私の孤独を救ってくれたの。それだけは覚えていてほしいです。
Her words reached deep into my soul. At last, these were the words I'd wanted to hear all this time.
どうして俺を一人にしたの？
生きることに耐えられなかったから。
イルサはそれで幸せだったの。
She smiled at the very end.
あまりにも幸せすぎたから死ぬことにしたの。だから、ありがとう。
そんな。
I couldn't comprehend it. I could only grasp being happy to be alive. Could one be happy to die?
でも、イルサがそう言うのなら。
She was happy. I alone must never deny her that.
もし、私の気持ちを知りたいなら、誰かに恋をしてみて。そしたらきっと、わかるかも。
人形に恋なんて。
大丈夫だよ。お人形さんは、誰よりも人の心がわかる人だから。
I mean, he clearly feels emotions. He clearly has thoughts, feelings, and cares for people. He can cry. I mean, he's got basically everything that says you could fall in love. There was compassion in her face as she reassured me.
いつかあなたは燃えるような恋をする。その時になったら、自分の気持ちに正直になってね。
ああ。
I wiped my tears away as I met her eyes. I didn't want to be a sobbing mess in front of her.
二度と会うべきじゃないと思っていたけれど、こんな風に時間をもらえたのは嬉しかったな。
俺は生きているうちにあなたとお話ししたかった。
Well, obviously, but like that wasn't in her desire.
ごめんね。でも生きているうちはリュシー様しか見えていないから。
Oh, did he fall in love with her? But like, yeah, I mean that makes sense.
それもあなたらしいと思う。
I was sure that I didn't grasp even half the meaning behind her words. But the feeling was more than enough.
そろそろさよならだね。
待って。
Hearing that it was time to say goodbye, I panicked. I still hadn't conveyed to her what I needed to.
俺は
伝わっているよ。お人形さんの優しさは。
Even so, I had to say it. I knew that if I didn't express these feelings now, I'd regret it for the rest of my life. But I was just too awkward and inexperienced to put my emotions into words.
イルサ。
So I stopped thinking. I let my instincts drive me.
ありがとう。
More than a farewell, I wanted to convey my gratitude.
それは私のセリフなのにな。
Ilsa started to disappear.
じゃあね、お人形さん。あなたの幸せを遠くの彼方から見守っているね。
さよなら、イルサ。
I teared up again. I didn't blink as I watched her pass on.
ラズリエルのこと、よろしくね。
ああ。
I was able to look forward. I would never forget those words she left me with. It was strange. Yeah, I was still under imminent, like, death, I guess. My conversation with Ilsa took place somewhere where the time held no meaning. Before I knew it, I was yet again skewered by countless lights as Ansh stood before me wielding a seraph's might.
夢でも見ていましたか？
ああ、そうだな。
It was no mere dream, but was a small miracle.
幸せな夢を見た気がする。
過去のトラウマをえぐったはずですが、聞いていませんね。やはり、人形に心はなかったということでしょうか。
I mean, shouldn't that be something you know before you do stuff like this? Because if he has a soul, doesn't that mean you can't do this kind of stuff? Ansh did not perceive the miracle that had occurred.
さあ、終わりにしましょうか。悪魔の人形に正義の鉄槌を。
Her prayers meant nothing to me. All I cared to do was get a handle of my own situation and face reality.
生きるよ、俺は。
Wait. Nah, I'll live. It feels... that's just the nah, I'd win meme, right? No. The blood poured out as I clumsily pulled the crosses from my body. My hatred and sadness drained away alongside it.
それが、イルサの願いなら。
まだ動けるのですか？
I would not let her wish go to waste. Her kindness must not be returned to Ash.
時計は止まった。
Oh. The demon who created me granted me strength. Violence that surpassed the angel's fears.
止まった。そして真夜中のように。
An all-encompassing nihilism. It renders all in his eyes into nothingness.
永遠な虚無を。
嘘。
That's the trouble, though. It kind of makes sense if he's created of the devil, and it's a natural enemy of the angels. He would be, unlike humans, he'd be able to actually affect them. Inevitably, all creation was fated to lose meaning in death. The angels were no exception. They too would one day return to the void. The innumerable crosses in the sky all lost their light and crumbled. Darkness encroached and usurped the seraph's authority. Ansh fell to the ground, unable to comprehend the phenomena before her eyes.
一体何が、ミカエル様の力が失われて。
Even the Accord's penalties held no power before despair. The angels in heaven cowered in fear of the strength I inherited.
その程度で俺が殺せるわけがないだろう。
My body was torn beyond recognition, but it was already starting to regain its shape. The light the angels wielded had no hope of erasing the darkness in me.
ありえません。それは一つの存在が有していい力では。
Crunch. I didn't hesitate. I would keep going until she surrendered. Her pure white wings twisted as I crushed them like an insect.
四天使ミカエルは何のために停戦協定を結んだ？それはかの天使ですら悪魔の人形を滅ぼすことができなかったから
It's
だ。
kind of a fair thing. So like maybe the Accord was not about protecting him, but about protecting the angels.
そんなバカな。
戦争を望むなら答えてやろうか。あの悪魔を殺した恨みはまだ忘れていないぞ。
Their war meant nothing to me.
俺の前から消えてくれ。そして二度と現れるな。
All the world's pain and malice concentrated to a single point that I then unleashed. The encroaching wave of darkness consumed all that was divine. The darkness swallowed the angel's brilliance, consuming Ansh from the inside out. It allowed her no means of resist.
どうしてですか？こんなのが世界に許されていいはずが。私は間違っていません。あなたは存在してはならない。
Before she vanished, I spoke to her.
四天使に伝えておけ。
An unprecedented singularity.
誰のための相互不可視。
Yeah. Thus, the darkness consumed all light. I'm guessing it doesn't kill her, though. It sounds like if she can convey a message, she'll be just sent back to heaven. Lazriel and I stood as the dawn illuminated the fields around us. The domain we were trapped in vanished once Ansh retreated.
終わったよ、ラズリエル。レ
ミ君、傷が。
心配はいらないよ。すぐに治るから。ラズリエルみたいに早くはないけど。
Interesting. I
俺
wonder
も
why.
人形だから。
Why can she heal faster?
痛くないの？
痛い。でも、それだけだ。
I'd endured worse.
イルサはどうして？
My words wouldn't come out right. What was I even trying to say?
レミ君、
Lazriel embraced me as she whispered in my ear.
助けてくれてありがとう。
It was Lazriel who was in front of me now. Her face, her voice, all her. It wasn't Ilsa's anymore. She was just Lazriel. That was all I needed.
苦しかった。本当は間違っているんじゃないかって思
Aww.
っていた。ヒルサの死体を使って宝石人形を作るなんて。だからアンシュの裁きの言葉が正しい気がしていた。生まれたあなたにもどう接していいかわからなくて。 もしかするとまたイルサの時のような結末になってしまう気がして。
Ever since I came to know hurt and solitude, my tears have flowed without abate. Here I was, a demon effigy, an enemy of the angels, breaking down in front of her.
同じでいい。
Lazriel didn't falter.
同じでいいんだよ、レミ君。イルサは幸せだった。救われたから、イルサのまま生き、イルサとして死ぬことができたの。だから、ありがとうなんだよ。
わからない。死ぬことは不幸なはずだ。生きた証が消えてなくなってしまう。そんなわけない。
Her words struck a chord within me. I felt my emotions were welling up.
イルサの死には意味があった。私とレミ君がそれを証明している。
Aww. I couldn't argue against that. I felt silent.
だからね、レミ君。私のことも幸せにしてよね。イルサと。
Oh gosh. Beneath the morning light, Lazriel's visage was that of an angel. This was perhaps the first time I'd ever truly faced her.
わかった。
As long as we were alive, we were proof that Ilsa once lived.
私は君を一人にはしないよ。
The loneliness I felt hadn't disappeared. Of course not. It'll take time. But I would embrace it as I walked forward. Roses ye twinkling, balsam besprinkling, fluttering thickening, secretly quickening, leaflet viewing that are, rose budding unringed that are, hasten to bloom, purple and green burst, spring from the gloom, paradise sheen burst into his tomb. Lazriel's perspective. Some time passed since the events that day. The witch hunts meant we couldn't visit the nearby town anymore. The townsfolk suspected Ruby of witchcraft, so it wasn't a safe place for her to be.
二人はお人形さんだったんだ。
Oh, so you're just gonna tell her now? Oh, okay, I mean, that's fair. Both of us mustered up our courage to reveal the truth to her, but her shock was momentary. For someone as sheltered as her, she likely didn't grasp the full weight of what this meant.
でも、レミはレミだし、ラズタンはラズタンだもん。何も変わらないよね。
Sure. To the brave little girl who spoke up against the face of evil, angels, demons, and effigies meant nothing. What mattered was that what was inside of us shone brightly.
アンシュはどうなったの？
The night before we left, I asked Remi what he was packing.
殺してはいない。アンシュには借りがあったから。
Rubia had told us about what happened.
ルビアを助けてくれたのはアンシュだった。彼女がいなければ今頃どうなっていたか。
Yeah. But we only learned of Ansh's help long after her confrontation. Dead or not, I believed Remi wouldn't have killed her regardless.
天使や悪魔は直接この世界に干渉できない。だから悪魔は人格に取り付き狂わせることで意のままに操る。
Right.
逆に天使は力を授けることによって自らの手足となる使徒を作るんだ。
天使の使徒が悪人であるジョン・スミスに手を貸してもよかったの？
考え方が特殊なんだ。大いなる正義の前には小さな悪など気にしない。アンシュにとって俺は人間を犠牲にしてでも排除すべき対象だった。
A small evil can be tolerated in the service of a great justice, and for Ansh, my demise is worth the loss of a human life. That's crazy that they could just justify that. If they're not bound by any rules, then what makes them an angel? The boy in front of me was a demon effigy, persecuted by the angels. But I knew better. His heart was kinder and more pure than anyone's.
これからもラズリエルを巻き込んでしまうかもしれない。こんな状況下であなたを作ってしまったことが申し訳なくて。
It is what it is.
気にしてないよ。
I shook my head and smiled back.
だってレミ君が守ってくれるもん。だったら安心だね。
Uh-huh.
ラズリエル。
I had the right to live my own life, didn't I? That day, that was why he gave me my name. It was okay for me to live as Lazriel.
あの日からイルサの夢を見ることがなくなったの。きっと魂が召されたのね。
Yeah. Remi said that Ilsa's will didn't live on within me. But that one moment when that miracle occurred, I was sure I saw her spirit. That was why I chose to believe. I believed that Ilsa's soul had resided within me.
ねえ、どうして女の子なの？レミ君が作ったお人形さん。男の子じゃなくて女の子だったのは？やっぱりレミ君が男の子だから？
His mouth was agape as he started to blush.
違う。俺は自分の都合で作ったわけじゃ。
Oh gosh.
あ、わかった。レミ君が私のお洋服を作ってくれた時にサイズがぴったりだった理由。
Oh
私の
no.
体のことはレミ君が一番知っているんだね。
Awkward. Move on. Move on. I piled it on to try and get him to show his flustered expression. I liked seeing him composed, but this side of him was even more adorable.
あなたが女の子だったのはきっとイルサの意志だ。
Sure. Remi stumbled over his words as he tried to excuse himself.
イルサは天使に憧れていた。その思いを受け継いだ姿が今のラズリエル。あなたの名前も
Okay.
イルサが由来だ。だから俺は
Lazriel. Like, it did sound like an angel name.
知ってる。
I couldn't resist a coy smile.
ちょっとからかっただけ。
Hidden beneath his composure like a treasure was kindness. Every glimpse I got of it made me smile all the brighter.
ねえ、私は宝石人形なんだよね。何の宝石なの？
Lapis lazuli, I'm guessing?
ハックマナイトだ。
Hackmanite. Isn't that just a type of quartz? Remi whispered the name to me tenderly.
その姿は透き通るような美しさを秘めていて、光によって色が変わる。
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that still
あ
is
な
just...
たにふさわしい宝石だ。
I'm pretty sure it is just a type of quartz, but
素敵。
He took my hand in his. He did it so naturally, I didn't have time to react.
俺はあなたのきらめきを決して曇らせない。
Aww.
命をかけてここに誓おう。
Yep. He couldn't do that. It wasn't fair. His gaze enraptured me as I felt my heart melt. This gallant side of him that came out every so often lit a fire inside my heart. I felt a blush coming. It was no longer calm inside my mind. He let ripples that wouldn't wane.
ハックマナイト。
A gemstone that changed color.
太陽に照らされると色が変わる。
What color would I become once his light passed through me?
レミ君との未来が楽しみ
Aww.
だな。
My thoughts ran wild in that beyond. With him, I felt I could go anywhere. The morning we were due to leave dawned calm and quiet. As the mist gently enveloped the lands, I felt a slight reluctance to part from our home.
ねえレミ、どこに行くの？
まずは東に。
呆れた。何も決めてないのね。
The sun gradually emerged from the horizon as if to bless our journey and lighten our path forward.
忘れ物はないように。
There was no need for us to turn back. We packed everything we needed for this journey.
イルサ、
I placed my hand on my chest.
もうここにはいないんだ。
My footsteps stopped for just a moment. As I recalled Ilsa's words to me,
お人形さんには秘密にしておいてほしいの。
I alone was privy to her final thoughts, and most likely I would never need to speak of it.
私はこの気持ちを持っていくからね。
So she had like one last conversation with her. As the walking memento of Ilsa's wishes, I could only keep moving forward and seeking my own happiness. I made my first confident step toward a new tale.
ラズリエル。
今行く。
I had someone to call for me, someone to shine their light through me. That's why I remained bright and radiant. A girl's perspective. Ilsa's, I'm guessing?
私は死ななければなりませんでした。
I meant to die alongside her that day. Life without her radiance is not worth living. I thought it beautiful to die branded as a witch while cursing the lives of our enemies. Why was I the one who survived? Why didn't I tie my noose and join her right away? What reason did I have to cling to life, to let him take care of me for so long?
死なないで。
It was the night he saw how haggard I was and tried to make me eat the food I rejected. I spat out abuse his way, yet he faced me with the earnest request that made in tears.
お願いだから、一人にしないで。
I wasn't the only one on the verge of breaking, so was he. Seeing him made me realize how I must have looked to a bystander. She wouldn't have wished for me to wallow and linger in my sorrow. Neither would she have wanted to see me curse others and fester in hatred. I knew that losing a loved one was a tale as old as time, that the sorrow wouldn't last forever. That pained me more than anything. Try as I might to resist those who hurt us, the sadness would one day stagnate.
イルサ。
彼の優しさは猛毒でした。彼の思いやりは呪いでした。
That was why I had to die.
私は幸せな人間だった。
That losing her saddened me this much was proof.
ねえ、あなた様、天使のようなあなた様、私はあなた様への愛を失うことが何よりも怖いのです。この悲しみに慣れてしまうことが死ぬことよりも恐ろしい。
And I knew that this would come to pass in some distant future.
私が愛しているのはリュシー様だけ。
The brilliant days I spent with her must remain radiant within me for all eternity. If I were to turn back time, I would surely make the same choices and lose her again. That's the kind of foolish woman I was. Even this sadness I felt was so dear to me. She taught this poor girl who only knew to pray to her Lord's passion and desire. These feelings were the miracle she imparted to me. If this was not happiness, then nothing could be. To have loved her within this cruel world is why I now despaired at her loss. I could not let this feeling fade away.
リュシー様を愛していたのですから。この正気を失うほどの絶望が愛の証であるのなら、気が狂うほどの心の叫びが愛情の裏返しであるのなら、この痛みでさえも私は愛さなければならないのでしょう。
That's why.
だからお人形さん、私の悲しみを取り上げないで。
His kindness would rob me of what mattered most. No, it was more than that.
醜いものだけではないと知っていてほしい。この世すべてがあなたを害するわけじゃない。
This new feeling that sprouted within, I must never voice it. If I dared to, the thoughts I stood for this day might fade away.
だからね、お人形さん、私はあなたに救われるわけにはいかなかったのです。この悲しみだけは私だけのものでならなくてはならない。
She was determined to hold on to it. She didn't want to heal, which is crazy. This was the only way I could remain myself.
私は女の子が好きなのです。新しい世界を見せないで。私に次があると思わせないで。私にまだ可能性があるなんて信じたくもないのです。あなたの優しさは毒になる。その毒はあなた様への愛を風化し、色あせたものへと変えてしまう。お人形さん、お人形さん、このままではダメになる。私は私ではいられなくなってしまう。今まで過ごしてきた私のあり方を否定し変えられてしまう。そんなことは望まない。
This is so hard though, because it's like
望むはずがないのです。
these there are things will be okay. It's kind of romanticizing her ending her existence, but there's something that's kind of wrong and twisted about that. I get it though. I get the like this having this pure love, but the thing is like I think the thing that she never understood is that love wouldn't have faded. Like the perception of that love would have faded. Yeah, things would have changed with perspective and life. But the thing is that the bitterness would fade and the joy could grow. I've seen it happen and felt it happen in my own life. And that's what's sad about this, is that like she was so determined to hold on to the bitterness and sadness as much as the joy, that she wasn't willing to risk losing what she perceived as that joy, rather than simply a maturing of those feelings. Like, it's not like those feelings ever would go away, not the happiness nor the misery, but you'd change your perspective on it. And it would be something that could enhance your life rather than define your life. She really could have found joy in the future. She made a choice, and that choice is hers to make, but at the same time, like, it's not something to be, like, supported, or like, I'm never gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, she did the right thing. She absolutely didn't. She should have and could have felt happiness again. She could have helped defend and found people who needed protection. She could have been a voice of reason in a world where people are burned at the stake. She could have done something to help things out and have found herself some peace and joy, and I think that's something that Lucy would have wanted too. But in the end, she made her choice, and like, if she's content with that choice, then that's up to her. But I mean, in a world where we don't get to have the miracle of talking to the dead, I feel like that's a large assumption to make about other people. And I think it's something to always keep in mind, that there's always something worth sticking around for, and that there's joy to be found even through the hardship and pain. That the pain shouldn't be what defines you and shouldn't be what heralds your end. What heralds your end should be a place of happiness and understanding that you've done everything you wanted. Again, it's hard to judge or sit here and be like, oh yeah, I know what's best. I don't. But I also feel like very strongly that it's you have to be careful with this type of messaging, because while it is very beautiful for an ending to a story, it's also, I don't know. I feel like I've seen enough people who build back from terrible things that have happened and been happier for it, that I don't feel like we should like focus on this and be like, oh, she got what she needed. It's like, no, she needed more. She rejected what she could have had. She could have fast forward, and she was too terrified of somehow tainting her own feelings with the passage of time, which I don't think it would have. I think it would have enhanced the feelings. Like, it would have grown into something better, less about the passion and more about like enduring love.
心の中の天使様はいつまでも私に微笑みをくれる。
There was no room inside for anyone else.
だからね、どうか一人で旅立つことを、あなたの思いを拒絶することを、あなたを一人にしてしまうことを許してください。普通に生きていたら私は
You could have, though. I made a silent wish and carved it into my soul. May this wish serve the gemstone effigy he desires from the bottom of his heart. The girl born from my remains wouldn't be perfect, but I had faith that she'd treasure him.
祈りのような願いを込めて、ああ、こうしている間にも心は本音を口にしようとしています。もう二度とあなたと顔を合わせるわけにはいきません。この思いを自覚してしまったら、私はもう戻れなくなる。悲しみを過去にすることは絶対に許せないのです。
See, that's the failing there. Your sadness wouldn't fade or be lessened because of time. It just takes the edge off. It doesn't make it, like, you're not going to be able to just make it go away and just be happy. Like, things happen. But the thing is that we can draw strength from those things. They can be a good, like you could take terrible things that should never have happened, but then they can become something of a strength and a purpose and a means to help others avoid that same pain.
引き裂かれた後にですら愛情は残るのですから、私の世界で一番大切な気持ちを守るために。だから私は死ななければなりませんでした。さようなら。お人形さん、愛しています。 リュッシー様。
May my life end while my love for her still burns. The luster drives on in a tragedy. Alright. Very pretty. Very cool. Again, so that's the first chapter, so I'm guessing future chapters are going to explore other things. I'm not exactly sure what. Like, I'm not sure where, like, the story's going to be going next, other than, like, just kind of seeing their continued path forward. But maybe they're going to be able to find the solution, or maybe find some kind of, like, brokered peace between the angels. I'm not sure. It's fascinating. But yeah, there's a lot of interest. There's a lot of potential to this world. I really still feel like there's some, like, gaps that could have been filled better, where the story could have been told a bit better. I'll probably go into details when I can, like, really compose my thoughts and do a rap party, which we have to wait, because unfortunately we are hitting the end for this one right before I would be leaving, where I won't be able to do the rap party. So we might end up having a week where I don't have a Wednesday slot, really, which is fine, because, like, maybe I'll do something, like, random there, but otherwise we'll just have a break between this week and next week, because I just physically won't be here to do a live stream, because I'll be doing other stuff. But we should be all set for the next time. Bill, the art alone in this series is beautiful. Like, it's such a pretty series. Anything else? Nope. I think it's just going back to the main menu.
Putrika, first cut.
Yep. Oh, that's cool though that the title screen did change. That's fun. Let's see if there's anything in the extras. I feel like that's a new feature. So CGs, scenes, and the music. Very cool. Very cool. Very nice. And it's 100%. So that's pretty good. All right, well, I think we'll end things here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I'm going to try and kind of put all my thoughts together for a live stream. It'll be a shorter one. It's not like the pool of characters is that vast. I'll kind of gather my thoughts, but like you've already heard, like, I have a lot of good things to say about this series, but I also will have some criticisms. But ultimately, very, very happy with this. Thank you so much. Especially thank you to Kagami Games for sending me a free copy of this to play. I like making sure to support and trying to support smaller developers, and that's something that I want to cover on my Wednesday slots. Wednesday slots are going to become a kind of a place where occasionally, like, if I get contacted by a newer creator or a newer publisher wanting to, like, kind of help spread more visual novels, I hopefully will be able to cover at least some of their titles occasionally. It's also where I want to play, like, maybe follow-ups on games that, like, I really enjoyed and I personally want to, like, see finished. Like, that's why we did Sunrider recently. That's why we are doing, you know, we're going to be doing other series that are going to be like, oh yeah, like, I totally get why this probably won't win in a popularity poll, but I feel like it rounds off what we've done on the channel very well. Though I will say that there is a bit of a bonus and a kind of a special thing we're going to be doing right after this one. So make sure you stick around, pay attention for that, because I have a feeling a lot of you will be pretty excited with where we're going next. So I hope you'll come back for more. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for joining me for this playthrough of Putrika First Cut. I know the second chapter is currently being translated. I don't know how many of the other chapters have been published as of yet, like in Japan. I try to avoid looking too much into this stuff just because I don't want to accidentally spoil myself. So I think I'd be interested in covering more of this visual novel in the future. It'll definitely have to probably be something that's slotted into the second, like the Wednesday slots. And I can't guarantee it will. But regardless of that, this has been wonderful. I hope you will be willing to keep an eye on Kagami Games, and maybe at the very least, this has been interesting enough for you that you'll want to continue the other chapters as they get published. So make sure to give the follow to the Kagami Games. I know you can follow them on their social medias or on Steam, and that'll probably link you to, like, their stuff. But Kagami is also translating other stuff. Like, they just announced, I think, 3 or 4 titles they're supposed to come out in the next year or two. Of various visual novels they've gotten the translation rights to, which is very exciting, so keep an eye out for that. There's always gonna be something fascinating to do around the corner. So thank you, and especially thank you to the patrons and members of the channel. Your input is so helpful. Not only do I appreciate your willingness to support me directly, but also it's nice to be able to just go into our chats and channels on like Discord or in the comments and be able to have like good conversations about like where you think things should go in the future, what specific recommendations you want to make, or just in general like your thoughts on some of the things I've been working on in the background that like aren't really ready for the main channel. It's nice to be able to bounce ideas off you and kind of hear what you think. Hopefully we'll be able to see more progress in those as well. I appreciate everything you've done for me, and until next video, watch me, see me next. I'll see you there.